evening and welcome back to the Rory Talks Football channel, your daily Arsenal news updates, debates and my opinions. If you are new to the channel, please do subscribe. We're like 30 away from 12,900 subscribers. And of course, if you could click that like button as well, I would be incredibly grateful. Now, we are an hour early today. I apologize. I'm going out for dinner and so something had to give way. So we're an hour early. So I appreciate that. There's maybe not as many of you as normal, but there are plenty of you in here. Anyway, we're going to be talking about a couple of transfer rumours that there have been today. Obviously, January transfer window only just over a month away at this point, and we'll be talking about, the West Ham game coming up, the Champions League games from last night, which were pretty interesting, and it will be a slightly shorter stream today, only about half an hour long. But there we go. Jakob, Pelzer, Lukey, Saliba, Tentego, Pekka, Jack-Sax, Tiger Claw, Carter, Nid, Emil, Josh, Stillmart, Wilzagod, Aswad, Sai. It is good to see you all in the chat. Lots of love, Rory. Been watching since the beginning. Just don't usually make the streams. Tiger Claw, I appreciate it. And for anyone, by the way, who doesn't make the streams when we're live but watches them back, absolute legends. I appreciate you as well. Kian, good to see you. We'll start with the little bits of transfer news. We'll get those out of the way. One is probably waffle. One makes a little bit more sense. So Di Marzio, who of course is more well known for his work in Serie A, has been speaking about Jakub Kiwior and says Napoli have asked about Jakub Kiwior's situation at Arsenal, and Arsenal are open to letting him go out on loan. Right now is the moment for him to come back to Italy because he has to play and become one of the best defenders in Europe again. So Napoli interested in Kiwior. They've been interested previously. There's been numerous sides in Italy interested in Kiwior. And the question is whether or not we take the risk of letting him go in January. We could have let him go in the summer. I was a little bit surprised that he didn't go in the summer, but then given the injuries that we've had so far this season, it was probably a good thing that he didn't go. At times we have had to use Kiwior this season. Now, I do think he needs regular game time. I think he's looked uncomfortable when he's played for us the majority of the time this season. I know he can be better. He rarely actually gets to play as a left centre-back, which is his usual position. So it seems like he's always either playing at right centre-back or at left-back, which is unfortunate for him. But if we can get some decent money for him from Napoli, I think it's probably one of those that you have to let happen. And, you're more likely to get something for him than someone like Kieran Tierney. So if we are going to have to rely on someone, maybe we do just end up, hopefully players stop getting injured and we won't be relying on players like that. But if they do, then Tierney is maybe someone that we rely on until the end of the season instead. So it's an interesting one. I don't know if he was ever one of the best defenders in Europe, which is what Di Marzio called him. He is a good defender. But like I said, even in the game against Sporting, the first time that Gyökeres had a chance to run at him, he blitzed him. It's one of those. I would probably let it happen and just hope that we don't have another defensive injury crisis. Realistically, we've got Calafiori, we've got Timber, we've got Zinchenko, we've got Kieran Tierney, and we should have Tomiyasu. We've got 5 players capable of playing at left back. At least 2 of them are also capable of, 3 of them are also capable of playing at left centre back. So there is room, and Miles Lewis-Skelly. So 5 players capable of playing at left back. So yeah, if the offer is there, look, and who knows? Maybe if we do end up going in for a Kvaratskhelia or Osman, maybe that helps out if we've done a nice deal for Napoli as well. We can't let Kiwior leave without Tomiyasu. He's our centre-back replacement for both Gabriel and Saliba. Yeah, but really, the centre-back replacement can also be Calafiori. So if Gabriel got injured right now, we could put Calafiori at left centre-back and then start Zinchenko or Kieran Tierney. When Ben White is back, you've got Timber and White that can both cover Saliba. So, I think he's going to the thing is, Kiwior's going to have to go at some point. In my opinion, Kiwior, Tierney, Zinchenko and Tomiyasu all leave within the next year to 18 months. If this January is the opportunity for that to be Kiwior, then I think you just have to do it. Maybe an unpopular opinion, but I think we look much better with a striker who has some sort of technical ability and can actually dribble. Look at what Raya is offering when not going long to Kai. Yes, but I don't know if that's to do with the striker. So I'm not sure what you mean by that, because I agree. Now that Raya can ping it into midfield to someone like Ødegaard again, I think that's beneficial. But having Kai Havertz as an outlet is still very good. I'm not sure if you mean you don't want to see Havertz there or not. Rory's fallen off. Only 12 likes in 5 minutes. Yeah. Hey, listen. There's only 57 of you here, so 12 likes from that. I mean, if all 57 of you could like it, that'd be great. Kiwior is a good squad player, but he's nowhere near the level of Gabriel and Saliba. When he comes up against more elite players, he gets cooked. Yeah, I don't disagree. I think Gabriel and Saliba are just too good, which makes Kiwior look bad. Partially, yeah. That is part of it. Like, the majority of centre-backs in the world are going to look a level down when you compare them to Saliba and Gabriel. So, ooh, we got a hater. We got a hater in the chat. Hello. Biggest shite talker on this platform, bar none. Thank you. Good to see you. Hope you're having a good day. One of the other bits of transfer news we've got, caught offside. So, it's caught offside. So take it with a handful of salt. Arsenal have held some talks over the potential transfer of Adam Wharton and are prepared to try and make a move for him in January. It's understood that Arsenal hope to get a deal in the region of 55 million euros, but Crystal Palace wants 65 million euros. That's one of those. I would love Adam Wharton. He's not looked quite at it this season. I know he's been dealing with an injury. I think he's been dealing with an issue similar to what Emile Smith-Rowe was dealing with, and he's now had the surgery, much like Emile Smith-Rowe did. Where does he play? He's kind of a holding midfielder. He would play alongside our 6, I would imagine, or maybe even as the 6. He might be this is the thing. He'd probably fit into the squad as a bit of a long-term replacement for Partey for when we eventually lose Partey. Obviously, he's only 20 years old. He'd have time to develop. I'd like him. From what I saw of him last season in particular, he's a very good player. But, firstly, I don't think Crystal Palace would sell him in January for 65 million euros. I don't think they, especially because apparently Man City are interested in him as well. I wouldn't read too much into it. That's one of those ones that's just, it's the classic thing that you do in the build up to a transfer window where you go, well, here's a good player that's probably going to move. Here's a club that would probably like someone like that. Here's a rumor. And there you go. Do you think we could replace Kiwior with Hato next season? Yes. I think we're going to bring in Jorel Hato at some point, probably next summer, and he will replace. Yeah, I think we're going to lose several defenders before we're fully done. So he'll be unnecessarily expensive English quota. Yeah, possibly. I mean, we're not that far above the English quota, in fairness. For example, if you factor in losing, actually no, we're probably all right because of Nwaneri and Smith and Miles Lewis-Skelly. We're probably all right. I'm just thinking once we lose Reece Nelson. And if we lose Sterling from the loan, we'll be close to the limit again. But I think we'll be fine, actually. Who is Hato? He's a defender for Ajax. He was captaining Ajax at the age of 18, 19. Very, very versatile defender. Can play anywhere across the back 4. Has kind of vibes of Jurriën Timber. But yeah, very, very talented. And so good for his age already. Rory Talks Football to become one of our coaching staff for the Arsenal. Hey, who says no? Unpopular opinion, as much as I love what Partey offers us as the 6, he also gets beaten easily on the counter, and when Rice is forced as the 8, our left-hand side struggles more. Well, so we're going to talk about this because I've seen a fair number of people talking about the midfield, and I think it's interesting. I genuinely do think it's an interesting conversation to have. mainly because the kind of almost the spanner in the works, but it's not a spanner in the works because that's a bad thing. It's whatever the good version of a spanner in the works is. Thomas Partey this season has performed in a way that I just don't think anyone thought he was going to. And I think, realistically, Mikel Arteta's vision and idea was that the midfield at full strength would be Rice, Merino, and Martin Ødegaard. But Partey is putting himself there and playing in a way that makes it difficult to necessarily do that. So I do think it's interesting. And I think it's interesting because I don't think Partey or Rice can play as the 8. Now, they can play as the 8. Declan Rice has played as the 8 quite a lot. But the left-sided 8 for me is just better when it's Mikel Merino. And that's not to say that Mikel Merino is a better player than Rice or Partey. But he's better for that specific position and for that specific role. And the big thing is how he's able to unlock Martinelli more. And it's such a simple thing. But the fact that Merino is left-footed compared to Partey or Rice means that Merino gets the ball in the kind of left central midfield area. And when he wants to play it into Martinelli, as a left-footed player, the ball through is curling back into the pitch, right? Which means he can start it out closer to Martinelli and further away from a defender and have it curling back into the pitch, into Martinelli's path, which makes it so much easier for Martinelli to collect the ball on the run and be driving at the defender at pace. Whereas if it's Declan Rice, the pass can still be a good pass, but because it's curling that way, away towards the outside of the pitch, it has to start closer to the defender. And it means that more often than not, Martinelli has to kind of slow down or stop his run to receive the ball. And then he's like stationary and squaring up to the defenders. It's quite a small thing, but I really do think it makes a big difference. And so for me, I just think Merino starts. I think we're better. I think Merino, Calafiori, Martinelli is the best left-hand side we have. But then again, you've got this position where who do you start out of Partey and Declan Rice? It's a great problem to have. It is a great problem to have. We started Partey and Rice in the week. I think Merino will start at the weekend. I'd probably honestly drop Declan Rice purely because if he's not 100% fit anyway, which I think he's still got issues with his foot, now is the time where you probably can rest him. You never know when Partey's next injury is around the corner, right? As much as I'd love to believe that Partey is capable of staying fit now, you never know when that next injury is going to happen. So, yeah, right now, whether midfield being Partey, Merino, and Ødegaard is perfectly good enough to beat a West Ham, I don't see why you wouldn't go for it. The amount of games we have to play, it shouldn't be an issue. Well, no, that's the great thing. That's the great thing. The amount of games that we've got to play, it's so much better having that sort of option. I couldn't disagree with this more. I could not disagree with this more. Arsenal need a left back because Calafiori ain't it. Calafiori is it. Calafiori is it. In fact, Calafiori is so it that if you look at games where we have played Jurdy and Timber and Calafiori together, right? Timber as the right back, Calafiori as the left back. 5 games this season, they've started together as the right back and left back. Man City, we drew 2-2, but actually we were 2-1 up when they were on the pitch. And we conceded once both of them have been subbed off. So we kind of won the game 2-1 with Timber and Calafiori on. Leicester, 1-4-2. PSG, we won 2-0. Nottingham Forest, we won 3-0. And Sporting, we won 5-1. And I would argue that outside of the Leicester game, and even the Leicester game, we absolutely battered them. They were 5 of probably our 6 best performances this season. And it is not a coincidence that it happened when we had Timber and Calafiori. It really isn't. Calafiori opens up our left-hand side so much. He's so aggressive at winning the ball back. And yes, he's been caught out a couple of times. That's his only weakness, right? Like he's been caught out a couple of times where he's been done by very quick players. That's something that he will learn and adapt with. Bear in mind, he is still only, 22, 23? So he's got more than enough time to. I mean, this is crazy. How old's Calafiori? Is it 22 or 23? He is 22 years old. In fact, he doesn't turn 23 until May. So he's 22 years old. He's never played in the Premier League before. He's never played in the Champions League before. He's joined a team that is incredibly high level. In fact, when Declan Rice, for example, joined Arsenal, he said it took him months to get up to speed with playing for Arsenal. He's come in, having previously mainly played as a centre-back. He's been dropped in at left-back in a really high-functioning team, in a new league, in the Champions League. He's been dealing with injuries. And our 5 best performances, arguably, have been when he's been at left-back. I don't know what more people would want from him at this stage, to be quite honest. Like, I've been really impressed with him. There are literally 2 things that I think he needs to improve on. One is reading of the game slightly better. He's incredibly aggressive. That's fine. Gabriel is incredibly aggressive. Gabriel, over time, has learned when to use that aggression and when not to use that aggression. That's something Calafiori needs to work on still. The other thing that he needs to work on is using his body. A couple of times now, I've seen players much smaller than him body him, shoulder to shoulder, win against Calafiori. That's a simple thing to improve. That's not down to strength. That's down to technique. It's actually the technique of going shoulder to shoulder with someone. He stands too upright and his legs are too close together. He needs a wider base. It's just an easy thing to learn that will stop him getting bodied. But other than that, I think Calafiori's been excellent, and so has Jurrien Timber. And the proof is in the pudding with the results that we've had when the 2 of them have been playing. I think for Timber, I mean, the level that Timber's playing at post ACL is unbelievable. Unbelievable. He caused us both goals by Chelsea and Sporting. He be failing apart. I just have to strongly disagree. Unfortunately, he didn't even play against Chelsea. I'm 90%. He didn't even play. He literally did not play against Chelsea. And the goal against Sporting was just poor defending all round from a set piece. So, yeah. I'm sorry, but he literally didn't play against Chelsea. Strange, because Calafiori is that player that brings the X factor to the team. Such an exciting player to watch at only 22. Yeah, 100%. 100%. And he's only going to get better. He's only going to get better. That's the crazy thing. Yeah, the Neto goal, he was there. Brother. These are all of Calafiori's games. Sporting, Nottingham Forest, Shakhtar Donetsk. So, he didn't play the game. He literally didn't play the game. Is it too early to say that Timber is the best right back of the Emirates era? He's certainly got the potential to be. He's certainly got the potential to be. I mean, who else would it be? For me, Timber's better than Bellerin. Timber's better than Bellerin. I mean, very early Emirates era, we had Sanya. Prime Bakary Sanya was a very, very good player. Bellerin nowhere. Fucking Cedric, Christ. Jenkinson, Lord have mercy. Debussy, wow. Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely close. And then obviously Ben White. But we heavily rely on our fullback for dynamism. We miss them a lot when they're out. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Biggest mistake I've seen Calafiori make was letting Haaland through. Yeah, and that's a perfect example of his decision making, because he was too late to read that the ball was going into Savio. That's fine. That's mistake number 1. Too late to read the ball going into Savio. That's recoverable. Mistake number 2 was then trying to overreact to that mistake and going super aggressive to try and win the ball off Savio, but it was too late by that point, and Savio plays in Haaland. That's a mistake. That's a mistake. And it's fine. That was his first ever start for the club. So, yeah, look, I'm not pretending he's the perfect player or that he's got nothing to learn, but I've been very, very impressed with him. Do you think Liverpool will drop in form? It's impossible to know. It's impossible to know. You know, something like last night, Konate gets injured. Don't know how long that injury is, but if that was a big injury, for example, that could cause them problems. Van Dijk getting injured would cause them problems. Salah getting injured would cause them problems. But you can't rely on injuries because they might not get them. Outside of that, if they don't get any injuries, I don't really know why their form would drop off. They've got some... He did redeem himself by scoring that screamer. Yeah, exactly. So, we're all cheering for City on Sunday. Not me. I want a draw. And I'll tell you why. Remember when... let me bring it up. Remember this game last year? Where was it? Remember this game last year? Does it show? Yeah. Oh, no, that's the old table. But this game last year, Liverpool were top of the league at that point, right? That was before Liverpool had gone on their... How did that happen? That was before Liverpool had gone on their losing spree last year, where they dropped points to United, and then to Palace, and then to Everton, and then to West Ham, and then to Villa. So at this point, Liverpool were at the top of the league last year. And a lot of people wanted Man City to win because they thought that Liverpool were our competition. And I said I wanted a draw. And a lot of people disagreed with me. When I said I wanted a draw. In the end, it wouldn't have made a difference. If Liverpool had won that game, we would have still lost to City anyway, but by 1 point instead of 2. But the point is, Man City, as much as they feel like they might be out of it, they're not. They're never out of it. They could go and drop 200 million in January and be right back on track. So I think a draw is the optimal. And at that point, I mean, if they draw and we win, it leaves us... we'll be on 25. We'll be a point ahead of Man City, and we'll be 7 points behind Liverpool. Lee Gunner was right about Calafiori. Did Lee Gunner say that Calafiori was an excellent signing and was going to be a massive player for us? Fair play to him. Liverpool will definitely drop points. We're lucky at the Emirates and other games. Yeah, possibly. I hope so. I hope you're right. I want to overtake City this weekend. Well, yeah, if it's a draw, we can overtake City. I mean, the big thing looking at this weekend's fixtures, though, is why does that say... Oh, no, is this. We play our game on Saturday, and then, like, Chelsea, Villa, United, Spurs, Liverpool, and Man City all play on the Sunday. So if we can pick up our 3 points here, we can just enjoy Sunday. Just enjoy it and hope that as many of them drop points as possible. I'd probably, again, Chelsea, Villa, I'd probably quite like them to draw because I wouldn't fully rule Villa out of making a comeback yet. Not that I think either team should be competing with us at the end of the season, but you never know. Obviously, Fulham and Everton beating United and Spurs would be beautiful. And then, yeah, Liverpool City draw would be decent. And a Liverpool City draw as well might just slow down the momentum of Liverpool, which would be useful. We could literally be right back into the race in just a few weeks. Yeah, of course we could. I mean, who have Liverpool got after City? I think they've got... Yeah, look, Newcastle away, Everton away is their next 2 games after that. By the way, Newcastle away, Wednesday, followed by the lunchtime kickoff at Everton. It's, look, there are plenty of points for them to be dropped. And they play Spurs away before Christmas as well. So, yeah, look. There are plenty of points available. There are plenty of points to be dropped. And there's no point panicking yet. Anyway, it is now time for Guess the Non-Gooner. I haven't thought of a new game yet, but we've got to Guess the Non-Gooner, and then we will wrap up the stream. I'm going to give you the entire career path of a player who does not and has not played for Arsenal. You have to guess who that player is in the chat first. Just to get it right wins the immense pride and respect of the Rory Talks Football community. So get your fingers on your keyboards because we're starting now. This player started their career at RS Football. They started their career at RS Football. They then went to Juventude. They went to Juventude. They then went to Porto. They then went to Dynamo Moscow. At Dynamo Moscow, they went on loan to Fluminense. They then moved permanently to Fluminense. They then moved permanently to AC Milan. They moved permanently to PSG. They moved permanently to Chelsea. And they moved permanently back to Fluminense. So RS Football, Juventude, Porto, Dynamo Moscow, Fluminense on loan, Fluminense permanently, AC Milan, PSG, Chelsea, Fluminense. That is the key part of the career. AC Milan, PSG, Chelsea, Fluminense. No one's got it yet. Hurry up, chat. Hurry up, chat. I've got a dinner to get to here. It's not Hato and it's not David Luiz and it's not Bobby Firmino. Someone's got to get it. AC Milan, PSG, Chelsea, Fluminense. You can tell. This is quite an easy one. You can tell the regulars aren't in. Oh, God. There we go. There we go. Space-Time has got it correct. It is indeed Thiago Silva. There you go. It was Thiago Silva. I'm on the phone to VV Vlad. I'll let you know in a minute. Yeah, there we go. Thiago Silva was correct. Congratulations to Space-Time 34 on getting that right. Anyway, look, that is going to be the end of the stream. I apologize for the shorter one. We'll be live tomorrow, normal time, for the West Ham preview, the full West Ham preview. Obviously, we will have the thoughts and news from Mikel Arteta for that one as well. There's no stream on Twitch tonight either. So, yeah, I will catch you all tomorrow. I hope you all have a fantastic evening. Please like and subscribe before you go, and goodbye.